Hey, Composing Gloves here, and today I want to talk to you about writing lyrics. This is a step that a lot of people struggle with. When I have people come over and they're singers, they usually are like, "Oh, I write the lyrics," and then I end up writing them because they take a really long time to write. And I actually learned I use a technique to do this that allows me to very quickly write things down. First is you've got to have read some books and have some ideas in your head. You can't just sit down and write stuff after having not thought about anything critically. So I read books constantly. I have a philosophy book I read. Just all these books. You got to have ideas in your head, right? So you sit down, and what I do is I write out the beat, and I get a good beat going. Or you could start with words, but I started with the beat in this case. And so my beat, we start out with just some chords. Right, so that's what we had to go off of. Then I threw a beat on it. We let it loop, and I also came up with this chorus part. And so that's what we had to go off of. I had these three parts before I really made the rest of the structure of the song and started adding in these verse, chorus, ad-lib, all this stuff. So the words. So now we got to this part, and I hit Control S, and I was like, okay, we need to save it. What should I call it? She didn't know, so I immediately thought The Seeker. I was like, what I do is I have a picture in my head. And I learned this in my English class. He was really into poetry, my professor. And he said, bad poetry is full of abstract terms nobody can relate to. And he says, a lot of songs are full of this. And he says, I get it all the time too in beginning poetry. Now this isn't necessarily bad in the sense that it's not always bad. Okay, I'm not saying this is always wrong or always bad. Sometimes it can be really cool. But a lot of times people think they're being profound when they say stuff like, darkness prevails. Light is gone. Something, I don't know. They just say all these abstract terms. And you're like, I have no way of relating to this whatsoever. If I said, this hurts me like a paper cut in the eye, you have a very clear idea of what I'm saying. You're like, ooh. Like, there's a powerful representation there. And good poetry will draw on these analogies and things and create these crystal clear pictures. Now, the analogies they draw and stuff could have like these abstract ties, and you get into upper division poetry where they start doing all these really kind of interesting things, but they're painting a very clear picture. There's none of this ambiguous stuff where we're not really quite sure what we're trying to describe. We know exactly what we're trying to describe. So what I do a lot of the times, so I named mine The Seeker, and what I was picturing in my head was I wanted to say something about ideas in your head and dreams you have and bringing that into reality. Because right now what I'm saying, you think that would be really concrete all the time, but man, I had to analyze poems and I didn't know what the heck they were saying because I didn't understand some of the words. There's just all these things I didn't get. Like, it sounds simple at first too. You realize like this can be actually quite complicated. And I began to really see like, oh, this is kind of not a very good poem. And this one really is. And you begin to realize like why it's so good. The other poem might have some aspects to it that are cool in other ways, but the ones that people really attach themselves to, they really can relate to. So I pictured in my head, I want to talk about dreams. And so I said, okay, this is before I wrote down any words. All this stuff's going on in my head. I said, I'm in an attic, because that to me is like where nostalgic things are. It's your head. In a house, the attic is the top. It's where the stuff you put is. It's where the memories are. It's where sort of forgotten things are. And to me, it's like where you think. It's your head. And so I was like, okay, I'm in this attic. And to me, since the stuff in boxes is the stuff that's sort of the memories and the stuff that you've just sort of either forgotten about or have stored somewhere, we're not worried about that stuff in the attic. We're worried about the thinking. And the thing that moves in an attic when you go up there is the dust. And so I pictured a guy sitting in an attic with like a window in this light, and the dust was like moving around. And then to me, an angel is pretty symbolic of dreams or hope or desires. And so I pictured this golden angel reaching a hand out to this guy sitting in this room. And he reaches out his hand, and as soon as he takes the hand of the angel, that to me is bringing your dreams into reality. You are going to pull it out of the attic. You're going to do something about it. You're going to sign a contract. And so you see, I have like this great picture in my head. Like I very, very clearly got something I want to describe. And now I've just got to say it. And so that's all happens before I do this. So I will picture a picture. That's like, if I had to say one sentence, step one, think of a picture. But you see, there's a lot more to it. And I had all these desires and things, thinking symbolically. I already had all this stuff I could draw on. So I'm ready and set to add lyrics. So next up, I find I work better with people who do it the same way I do it. But some people, they'll think of like a pitch set first. I generally think of a rhythm first. So I'm like, or like we'll come over here and be like, da 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 da. Da 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 da, sort of like a rap, and then I'll simplify the rhythms down to fit whatever words I come up with. So then I started writing, and I have these ideas I want to express, and so now I'm trying to think of what are the most elegant ways I could say this, and so I came up with seeking things, because you have this dream, you're seeking something. So this is kind of abstract, but in bright gold wings, and wings are the symbols of action. They're what do things. So I'm like, okay, we've got at least some sort of an image. Now, this isn't enough to give you the exact same image I had. At least I don't think it is. But this is where these words came from. And it says airborne dust floating in the air. So that's like the dreams. And then we say bottled luck came to us. And to me, it's like you can interpret it however you want, because right when you listen to it, you're not going to have me there to interpret it. That's part of the process of art. So bottled luck came to us. That's just like, oh, I have this luck. To me, is something when you act on something. There's that old saying that like luck is where preparation meets opportunity. So to me, we have this opportunity in front of us, and you're gonna take it. Originally, I had written about taking the hand. And so that's what hand clasped with promises. I had written something else, but I decided this sounded cooler and meant a little bit more. But we are breathing out our cares. So someone passed up their opportunity. They didn't take it. But the hand reached out. So the opportunity, this is part of the bottled luck. The opportunity reached out to you. It doesn't happen as often, but it reached out to you. We woke up, we got up, we did something. The airborne dust started falling down. So to me, the dust is, it's forming into something. So it's not like, traditional dust, I guess you could call, but it's like it's moving, it's doing something. It's forming into a picture. If you could picture like dust forming into a picture in the air. So it's sort of like, that's what I'm thinking. Hand clasped with promises. That's the whole, I've taken the opportunity. Dust in the air to worldly cares. So you've taken the dust in the air and you've brought it into the world. In this case, the world's not like a bad thing. A lot of times it's sort of a bad thing, but here it's a good thing. And so it's like you've done something, you're following your passion. So that's what this whole thing is pretty much trying to say. And I like to write lyrics. If you sat down and you thought about them, you could interpret them in some sort of meaningful way. That's kind of the purpose of them. A lot of lyrics are just like, we're going to do great and you're going to be a good person and I love you and all these things. They're all such straightforward songs. Where's the art, man? So it's got to be in the music or the production quality or something else. So anyways, that's that. I like to think. And then we say, okay, chorus, now this repeats twice. And I want now my chorus, right? To me, a chorus should repeat your idea in a condensed form and in a catchy way. It might be the main theme, whatever it is. So I said chorus, floating down abstract shapes. By the way, this isn't a video on form, right? I'm just talking about adding words. So we say floating down abstract shapes. So to me, this is that's an abstract sentence. This is something you've clearly you've got something in your head, but it's pretty far out there. Form surrounds and takes the space. So now we've got a structure forming. Dreams from dust, and that should be clear from before, to golden busts. Now, if you don't know what a bust is like a picture of like, usually it's like the top of a person down to like the shoulders. I'm not sure if that's specifically what a bust is, but that's what I'm thinking of, the bust. And a bust is usually something tangible you can have. I've seen busts of all the great composers on pianos and stuff. And they are golden because you've gone out, you've done something, you've turned it into something of worth. And a bust will represent someone's life, someone's work, something that's been done, happened in the world, and other people know about it enough to respect you enough to make a bust out of it. So this is like a big sentence. Let me say, bring you from the head to here. And that's where you're taking ideas out of your head, you're putting them into reality. These are the people, they are what we call, they are the doers in the world. And so that's my course. So I thought, wow, this fits what I want to say. And then we say, people come from all around to see you try and get your crown. And I'm not going to explain the rest of the song. When it's published, you can hear it. But basically, people are going to come and try and take your crap, take advantage of you. They want to go, people are attracted to people who are able to take their ideas and make them real. So that's sort of what the rest of this is about. And then we repeat our idea. So now you might be wondering, what about rhyme scheme? What about like rhythm, like iambic pentameter and stuff like that? How would I do all that stuff? Well, so the way I do it, right, is I'll write some cool words and then I'll see if I can jive it with whatever I have going. And then I will change the rhythm if I need to. And so what she ended up, so I wrote out this and then I had her sort of sing along and I gave her a guide. I sang what I thought should go and then she went at it and we got something pretty cool.
Floating down, abstract shapes, flops around and takes the space. Dreams from dust to golden bus, bring you from the head to here. Floating down, abstract shapes.
So, yeah, that's what we came up with. And so we generally come up with the rhythm. And so you got da 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 dun dun, and you come up with the pitch sort of naturally as you do it. Now it's totally cool to have like no rhythm and to just sort of be singing and just come up with pitches first. Like, I'm working in like a. That sounded weird. Let's say I've got a synth, and I've just got like and then I just think of like a note in there, like, ooh. Some people do that, so it's not really rhythmically based. It's based more on melody. And then they'll come up with words, and usually the rhythm will be inserted by the words they pick. And so I've worked with people who are really picky about the words. And a lot of times they change the words to fit rhythmically, but then they sacrifice the idea. And that to me defeats, like, they change the words in a way that makes my idea make either no sense or, they just do things. And I'm just like, man, you clearly don't understand what we're talking about right now, because they get so caught up in this other side. So you want to be careful about being distracted and going down that path too. But anyways, those are some tips that I use anyways. As far as the singing and editing and all that stuff, that's all the technical stuff. But as far as the art and the idea and the being in the moment and having a song that says something that's truly meaningful to you, is what I think is the precedent of any project. So there's that. If you have any questions about this, let me know. If you found this useful, let me know. If you have any of your tricks, what's your workflow? I've seen like 1,000 different ways to accomplish different things. Thinking of analogies can be quite tricky. Maybe you have a nifty trick. Maybe you have a specific website you go to for inspiration or whatever it is. Subscribe, support me on Patreon, and have a blessed day.